Yo, what is up YouTube? James back here. Welcome back to another episode of VGC 2019 Backtrack Battles. Today we're going to use the Dialga team once again with Dialga, Kyogre, Ferrothorn, Incineroar, Tapu Koko, and Salamence. If you haven't checked out the previous episodes, highly recommend go checking it out. But otherwise, let's get started and play some games. So, really excited we're almost done with this team, so we're going to be moving on to a new team. I think this is the second to last episode, I believe, with the Dialga team. It's done pretty well so far, but I'm really excited to look forward to the new team that we're going to be using. And yeah, I just want to play with some more different teams. I think the Dialga team's been pretty fun, but it's basically Pokemon I've been using for quite a while, so going to be looking forward to using something fresh. But we got Luigi here with a 1755 rating, I think, from Germany, with wow, Lunala or Quasar. That's an interesting combination. With Bisharp of all Pokemon, the Pheromosa, Tapu Lele, and Amoonguss. So this is a very interesting matchup because I don't know what to really expect here from my opponent. So I think Dialga's pretty good. It handles the Ray effectively. I like Tapu Koko. Actually, the Pheromosa is really annoying. How do I deal with the Pheromosa effectively? Maybe I go like Kyogre plus Tapu Koko instead. I was thinking of leaving Dialga Koko, but that doesn't make sense against the Pheromosa. I think I'm going to go Kyogre Tapu Koko. I'm actually faster than my opponent's Bisharp with my Kyogre, if it isn't like a Scarf for some reason. So that should be decent. I think I need to bring Ferrothorn. And I'm thinking Incineroar is the last Pokemon, although the Salamence is very tempting as well, because I have Crunch on it. I like Incineroar because its ability to pivot. Pivoting is really nice here against my opponent's team. I think going to be really strong against my opponent's team. So let's see how this is going to go. This matchup looks strange, because again, Lunala is not exactly a good matchup for this team. But I don't think it's the worst in the world. It really just comes down to how well my opponent plays the Pheromosa, I think. Pheromosa is, as we saw in, like, I believe the last episode, a very scary Pokemon. Gonna see the Bisharp plus the Lunala lead. Okay. Against my Kyogre and Tapu Koko. And that's fine here, because I should be able to get a Volt Switch and a Water Spot off unless there's a Wide Guard immediately off the bat. The question is, who do I want to target? I could target down the Lunala for some big heavy damage. Maybe I should just, actually no, I don't have Water Spot, I have Origin Pulse, but I would probably click Origin Pulse anyway. The problem is Sucker Punch into Z Moongeist Beam, the Moon Rays. I just don't know how much damage it does. Might be better just to protect and Volt Switch. I could go for the Gleam right here. I don't know. I just feel like if we do make that aggressive play of Sucker Punching plus the Z move right away, I'm in a very bad spot. So, you know what? I'm going to protect here. And I'm going to go for the Volt Switch, I think. Into the Bisharp. Because Bisharp's a threat. Because once Bisharp's out of the way, I can actually switch. There could also be Protect Tailwind, I guess. I'm not exactly sure my opponent's going to go for that, and the chance I double up the Lunala slot and pick up a KO. So we'll see what my opponent decides to do here. I'll protect Kyogre as no Volt Switch, okay? So we will get a Volt Switch off into the Bisharp. Maybe it's an Assurance combination. That Volt Switch didn't do as much too, so I'm thinking it's like an Assault Vest Bisharp. That's what it's looking like to me. I'm going to go out into my Ferrothorn here and see what my opponent decides to click. Yeah, that should be Assault Vest Ferrothorn. That Volt Switch did nothing. It is going to be the Z move though, so I'm guessing this is going to go on a Kyogre. I don't think this would go into a Tapu Koko unless you're expecting maybe an Assault Vest Tapu Koko, but even then, I just really can't see it. So let's see what my opponent's going to go for. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be an attack into the Kyogre slot, and then I don't know what the Bisharp's going to do. Maybe it's an Iron Head into the Tapu Koko slot, but yeah, it is going to be that Z move going to come out into the Kyogre slot. So this worked out pretty nicely. Especially if there is a Volt Switch coming out, because that means that Bisharp should 100% go down to Origin Pulse the following turn. And I can like Origin Pulse knock off and get a double knockout potentially if my opponent doesn't switch. And even if you switch, you're taking heavy damage. So let's see what my opponent goes for. It is going to be an Assurance combination into my Kyogre slot. Okay, so interesting. How necessary is my Kyogre? Not super necessary as long as I get rid of the Pokemon that can be a massive threat. I think I'm going to take this time to target down the Lunala. Lunala is looking like a very, very threatening Pokemon here. I'm going to go for that knockoff and the Origin Pulse, which might be able to knock out Bishop. I'm not exactly too sure of this calc, but I'm going to attempt it anyway because Sucker Punch and a Psyshock I think would miss the knockout on my Kyogre. So let us see what my opponent does here. I'm like 100% certain that should be an Assault Vest Bishop too. Psyshock going to come out here into my Kyogre. I just hope I don't miss. Oh wait, I'm not max speed Kyogre. So the Jolly Bishop would actually outspeed me. But it looks like it's probably like, I don't know what nature. Bishop lives though, which is kind of a pain. We'll go for the Insurance actually into my Kyogre slot. Gonna pick up the knockout, so we're gonna trade my Kyogre here. But I feel like that this is really alright for me because one, I got the KO on the Lunala, and I got heavy damage on the Bishop, and I feel like my Kyogre is definitely more expendable in this matchup since I don't really need it here. Now I can go on a Koko, I think, because I think Koko's really good here. I could have went Incineroar too, but we'll see what my opponent decides to opt for. As it's going to be the Rayquaza coming out. Okay. So, I don't know if it's Assault Vest. That's the thing. I just don't know if it's like Assault Vest on the Ray here. So I could go for a few things. I could go for a Dazzling Gleam into the Ray slot. I could Dazzling Gleam Gyro Ball. Like, what's stopping me from doing that? If Pheromosa's in the back, I guess it's a little bit problematic. But I think it would still be doable. It might be better just to save Koko in case of the... Yeah, it might be better just to save Koko anyway. I think I'm just going to Volt Switch the Bishop slot. And I'm going to just Gyro Ball the Ray slot. I think it's better just to keep Koko around, just in case. I think Koko is, like, very nice to have, in case the Pheromosa's in the back. This could be a bit scary, though. Actually, no, my opponent shouldn't have a way to knock out the Incineroar slot here, so we should be fine. I think Earth Power might be coming out. Extreme Speed going to come out, which is an interesting choice. Into the Koko. Oh, it's Choice Banded. Oh, but Koko coming in clutch here. Going to be able to get the Volt Switch off into the Bishop. Wow, that is clutch. I did not expect Choice Band Extreme Speed to do that much. I thought like Choice Band Extreme Speed would have put me around 40, and I didn't think that Bishop would knock me out. But maybe I should consider that. So that is a Banded Rayquaza there. We will get Incineroar in for that Intimidate. And now I think we just keep targeting down the Pheromosa slot. Because Pheromosa... I'm pretty sure Pheromosa would be in the back. We do a ton of damage. That's a critical hit. I don't think it matters though in the long run. Because I think Pheromosa comes out now. Oh, it's Amoonguss actually. So no, that 100% seals the game. I'm pretty sure that just having Ferrothorn sealed up the game. Because with the Bisharp being so low, I don't think my opponent had an out to Ferrothorn actually. So yeah, we can, I guess, just fake out the Rayquaza, and I guess I'm going to knock off it too. I know it's Choice Band 100% confirmed. Unless this Amoonguss had HP Fire, I just don't see a way out. But even then, since my opponent was locked in Extreme Speed, I really just don't see how my opponent got out of this matchup alive. Especially with my Incineroar still alive on the field. So, yeah, we're going to be able to take a win, which was really nice. I think... wasn't exactly the most optimally played game, but I think we just had, like... Well, we got to turn one sort of right? We expected to double up into the Kyogre slot. I'm actually surprised it wasn't Sucker Punch into the Z move, but maybe my opponent thought the Bisharp was faster, which would be fair. But yeah, being able to outspeed the Bisharp, go for that Origin Pulse, getting the knockout on Lunala was huge, as I said. Getting rid of Lunala basically just meant no speed control. My opponent did have like something like a Tailwind or a Trick Room on that Lunala. It was really important just to get rid of it because it either was just not doing damage, which meant that my Kyogre was surviving so I could take another hit and, you know, the Lunala would be gone anyway, or it does damage but gets knocked down return, which I felt like was pretty fair of a trade, and Bisharp would have taken a lot of damage as well, which I'm really happy about. Getting that huge damage on Bisharp was also huge. I'm really surprised the Pheromosa didn't come out because I felt like Pheromosa, if it carried Ice Beam, if it carried Fighting Attacks, it would have been really good there against my Dialga and my Ferrothorn. Surprised no Lele too if you're bringing the Amoonguss, because that meant you couldn't spore anything, but I guess maybe my opponent was just really worried about the Ferrothorn. Really, my opponent didn't bring any good ways to handle Ferrothorn. Maybe Banded, Rayquaza, Lunala, and Bisharp. Lunala's not really doing much though, and Bisharp, I guess it has Low Kick. And maybe you're going for Assurance doubles up. double ups to get rid of it, I guess. Maybe that's your hope, but otherwise wasn't really doing much. And I think even Fairthorn, even though it was like on the field for like two turns, my opponent didn't even target it. So really fortunate there that Fairthorn was able to come in clutch. But yeah, Tapu Koko putting in a ton of work. I think the clutch's turn was surviving that double up, but I think even without the double up, actually without the double up, it would have been tough. Yeah, it would have been tough because we would have had to, well, the Rayquaza was locked in extreme speed, so my opponent would have had to choose like Bisharp getting knocked out by, I think, Fake Out, because I think Fake Out would knock out the Bisharp at that range, or the Rayquaza being locked in extreme speed and getting knocked up at the Gyro Ball the following turn, which meant the Bisharp would be doubled up the following turn with my would be doubled up with like Flare Blitz plus Gyro Ball, even though there was an Amoonguss out on the field. Again, unless that Amoonguss carried Hidden Power Fire, which they really don't anymore. I haven't seen that in Ultra Series. I don't think my opponent had it out. But otherwise, we will be moving on. We'll be right back with the second game of today's episode. Alright, we got an opponent from Canada, 1497 rating. It feels really hard to find battles now on Battlespot. Okay, Necrozma, Kyogre, Ferrothorn, Gastrodon, Incineroar, Celesteela. Can be a bit tricky depending on how this matchup goes, because let's see, you got the Gastrodon, which is actually really annoying for my team. I don't know if Ferrothorn covers it really nicely. Celesteela is also really annoying. For Pokemon wise, I could see Koko coming, but I have no idea if it's going to be an Ultra Necrozma or not. So, not sure if I want to base that off anything. Necrozma can be scary depending on what next to the Gastrodon. My opponent doesn't have much for Ferrothorn though, and I think I'm going to really abuse Ferrothorn right here. Because the only ways my opponent can really hit it is going to be the Incineroar on my opponent's side. So I think I'm going to lead both steals here, because even if like Incineroar leads for my opponent, I don't think that's too big of a deal. Yeah. So I'm going to lead that with Kyogre and Incineroar in the back. We'll see how my opponent decides to go, but I feel pretty good about our odds. I think that the Ferrothorn is definitely going to be a key here in getting rid of the key threats to my team, because the Gastrodon is just a bit scary here. Celesteela can be annoying, so I can knock it off, which is nice. So we'll see what my opponent decides to opt for. It's going to be the Necrozma and Incineroar lead. So I'm not really too surprised about that lead combination. I'm tempted to just go Incineroar and Kyogre here, because I could just throw off Origin Pulses combined with Incineroar's Intimidate's pretty nice. My opponent could U-turn out, which is definitely fair, but I'm not really sure what you would U-turn out into. So I'm going to go Kyogre here for the Dialga, because I don't want to take an Earth Power, and I'm just going to go out into my Incineroar right here. Let's get a nice Intimidate, and we'll see what my opponent decides to do, because I'm not exactly too sure what you're going to do here. I could have also stayed in with Ferrothorn, but the problem is I don't know exactly what I would want to do here. Especially if that's policy on Necrozma, I don't want to activate it with my Ferrothorn with knockoff or Bulldoze. So I think it's the safest play just to double out here. Even if I reveal all 4 of my Pokemon here, I don't think that's like too concerning here. Like, as long as I get the pressure I need, I think I'm going to be fine. Like, next turn I could throw off an Origin Pulse, and I think you turn out into the Incineroar slot. So the problem is the Gastrodon, but we do have a Ferrothorn for a reason. I guess what could be scary is Swords Dance from the Necrozma if it carries it, but that means Dialga should wall it. Unless it carries Earthquake. And I'm hoping it's Sunsteel Strike Photon Geyser, so we'll see what comes out here. Also, I'm switching this order because I am scared of an Earth Power from the Necrozma slot. We're actually going to see Necrozma switch out though, which is an interesting move. Ferrothorn on my opponent's side is going to be revealed. Okay. Huh. That works for me because I get this Intimidate off onto both sides. Okay. I really don't mind this. Let's see what my opponent's going to go for with the Incineroar. U-turn? No, just going to go hard for the Flare Blitz, which does fail here. Okay, that's a pretty good turn. That's a pretty good turn for us. We could switch out our Kyogre here. My opponent's probably going to bring in his or her own Kyogre. I think the best place to go Dialga here on the potential Power Whip. Even Leech would be fine. Maybe it's better to go Ferrothorn here, because if I know you bring out the... Actually, no, I will bring out the Ferrothorn here for my Kyogre. You just don't Flare Blitz the Kyogre slot. Because I could just go out into Dialga. I'm going to U-turn the Incineroar slot. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that the Incineroar is forced to go into Kyogre here, which means I have a pretty big advantage right now. We'll go into our Incineroar. We'll U-turn out. It looks like we had the faster U-turn, which is a little bit concerning, but because that means my opponent can maybe go back into the Necrozma. But we'll just get Dialga in. Oh. Pressure. Okay, I was just about to say, you better not have Flarelets. U-turn gonna come out into the Ferrothorn. Get a little bit of chip onto that Incineroar. Always nice chip. And let's see what you're going out into. I'd assume it's going to be a Necrozma. Kyogre would be super surprising, but maybe my opponent's going to try to use it as a bait to bring out the Incineroar on my opponent's side once again, like making me want to stay into power. But the Necrozma is going to reveal itself once again. Z-move on the Ferrothorn. Gloom Doom. Okay, so good switches by me, I guess, because you're either targeting on a Ferrothorn, which quad resisted, or Dialga, which also quad resisted, and you're a -1 as well. So this is not doing any damage, so I'll gladly take this turn. Bloom Doom gonna come out. Okay, so that means... Yeah, that did nothing. Maybe my opponent's power-upping again. I don't know. I feel like Incineroar is definitely going to be coming out here for either the Ferrothorn or Necrozma. I just can't tell which slot. I don't want to go out into the Kyogre here. And I do just actually want to Dragon Pulse the... I want Dragon Pulse Necrozma or the Ferrothorn. Because I think Ferrothorn is switching out into Incineroar. But if I predict the Incineroar to come in, it's better just to attack the Necrozma for chip. Actually, I do need chip on Necrozma anyways, because I need to weaken the Necrozma. So I think I'm just going to Dragon Pulse the Necrozma slot. I'm pretty sure if Ferrothorn's staying in for any reason, it's going to be to Elite Seed my Dialga. So otherwise, I just don't get it. Yeah, stays in with both. Here comes the Dragon Pulse. Going to come out into the Necrozma slot. Chip. Yeah, Elite Seed. Oh, it looks like Trick Room's coming out, which is fine. Okay. So we confirmed one of its moves. So question does it have Earth Power? Because that doesn't rule out Earth Power, but it has to be one of Photon Geyser or Celestial Strike. I mean, I'm doubling out here. Like, I don't see a reason not to. Incineroar for the Kyogre, Ferrothorn for the Dialga. I really want to see what my opponent's trying to do here. I really want that Intimidate too. Like, chipping away at the Necrozma, leaving the Ferrothorn alone is fine for my team, I feel like. Like, that's the goal. We'll bring up the Ferrothorn here. And bring out the Incineroar. And then we can Power Whip, U-turn the Necrozma slot. Which I think is a fine play here. Because we can capitalize on a lot of things. Intimidate. And this Ferrothorn's really not doing anything for my opponent. Power Up gonna come out, Incineroar dodges, no big deal. Photon Geyser are gonna come out. Tarzan my Ferrothorn, not really doing any damage. So we already confirmed Photon Geyser. That did absolutely nothing too. Great. We're gonna U-turn out. There's no reason to fake out. No momentum's really gained. Gonna U-turn Power Whip. If my opponent switches down an Incineroar on the Ferrothorn slot, no big deal. I could switch into Kyogre. We're probably going to see the Incineroar come in for that. Oh, it's Gastrodon. Oh, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. There's no Kyogre on my opponent's side, so I can just Flare Blitz at any time the Ferrothorn. Okay, that works. Yeah, power up the Gastrodon. Just in case the Kyogre decide to come in. I don't think it should have. But, I mean, that works out. At least he's going to come out in Incineroar, but that just means I get to switch out once again. And we're looking like in a very dominant spot right now. Getting rid of the Gastrodon is huge. It frees up my Kyogre a bit, because now I can click Origin Pulse 100% and just get some damage off. Dialga will come in. Problem is, I don't really have a good way to chip the Necrozma. Yeah, I have knockoff. I just don't want to activate that weakness policy by chance. If Incineroar comes out, that's fine. I get to go back into my own Incineroar for my Ferrothorn and probably just click Dragon Pulse. Do I want Dragon Pulse to Incineroar or the Ferrothorn though? I don't have to chip the Ferrothorn at all, as long as I keep Incineroar alive. So here comes the Incineroar on my opponent's side. Which is no big deal. Because I think once this Trick Room is over, because I don't have to reverse Trick Room now. Yeah, because I just get to go for a Dragon Pulse here into the Incineroar slot. Go out in my own Incineroar. Don't see what's really stopping me. Even if you read the switch, what can you really do? Unless you have a fighting move on Incineroar, knock off on Ferrothorn, or Leech Seed it. Which, yeah, I guess, but not really capitalizing too much because none of those are a KO option, unless Superpower crits, of course. As long as Incineroar is alive, that's a big point here. So let's see what my opponent's going to do. Going to be a power up coming out, going to be targeting down the Incineroar slot, which does absolutely no damage, and a Darkest Lariat. Okay, trying to get chip on my Dialga, which makes sense because none of my opponent's Pokemon can really touch it. Doesn't do much, and Dragon Pulse. So I wonder if it's Z-move on the Incineroar, if it carries Darkest Lariat. We didn't see a Z-move come out from my opponent yet. Pretty free Dragon Pulse here into the Incineroar slot, and a Flare Blitz into the Ferrothorn slot. Or do I want to U-turn the Incineroar? I kind of want to U-turn the Incineroar once again. Yeah, why not? I want to U-turn the Incineroar slot. At least it's going to come out. No big deal. Because I really just don't mind this Ferrothorn. It's not doing anything. Here comes a U-turn out from my opponent's side. I mean, this is going to be a slow bit, but even if it's drawn out, it's not a big deal. I mean, I'm pretty sure Trick Room's over. I'm pretty sure this was the last turn of Trick Room. I can get in my Kyogre. I get to click Origin Pulse, and the Necrozma is chipped. So we get a U-turn off. I don't think Origin Pulse would knock out, but I mean, the damage is damage, so I'll take the damage. We'll bring out the Kyogre. This way my opponent can't switch in Incineroar and reset the Intimidates on the Ferrothorn. Like, all I want to do, because I don't even mind the Kyogre goes down at this point. Like, all I need is damage on the Necrozma. That's my goal here. Getting that damage on Necrozma is so big for me. Dragon Pulse, because once this Necrozma goes down, this game is 100% mine. So we'll go on Incineroar once again, get another Intimidate off. What's this Ferrothorn going to be at? -4? -5? Yeah, -4. This, yeah, it's really just not doing anything. Or do I want to go Ferrothorn? Nah, it's just better to go Incineroar. Yeah, Incineroar's always a play. Origin Pulse here. Just to get some chip. Because I don't think this will knock out Necrozma. I guess the only problem is, what if it's Ultra Necrozma? And, well, if it's Ultra Necrozma, we already revealed Photon Geyser. It could have Earth Power, actually. We don't know yet. I don't think it ever revealed Sunsteel Strike. So I guess if it... You would need to have Earth Power. You would have to crit my Incineroar. And even then, I think you would lose still, regardless. Get the Origin Pulse off. Also, you reveal Trick Room. So, I don't know. Trick Room Ultra Necrozma? We don't know where the Z-move is. We knock out the Necrozma too with Origin Pulse, which is actually surprising. I didn't expect it to KO. And at least it's going to come out. Kyogre avoids. Even if it connected, you were doing what? 20 HP. Incineroar's going to come out on my opponent's side. Not really a big deal. Yeah. Because I can go out into Dialga, protect. Yeah, there really isn't much my opponent can do. Because this is just going to be drawn out. I mean, basically all I have to do is get rid of this Incineroar and I just win the game with my my own Incineroar at this point. There's really not much my opponent can do here. I'd really love to see the Z-move into the Dialga slot just for the heck of it. But it's just going to be fake out into that Incineroar slot. I'm maybe expecting a Flare Blitz and a switch out there. And a Power Up's going to come out into the Kyogre slot, which wouldn't have done anything. But better safe than sorry, I guess. But even then, like, I just can't see how I lose this game. I get to go back to my own Incineroar. I get to go for Dragon Pulse because this ignores the multiple missed chances that I could have against my opponent. And then next turn, I could just Flare Blitz a Ferrothorn. Like, there's no drawback to Flare Blitzing the Ferrothorn the next turn. So, there's absolutely nothing that my opponent can really do here. Yeah. Let's see. No. Even a crit power won't knock out my Incineroar at the range it's at. I think my opponent's going to take all the time in the world. So, I think like the one misplay I think my opponent did was just a Gastrodon switch in. I'm really surprised Gastron hard switch, but maybe my opponent was trying to capitalize. Didn't think I was gonna power it, but I did power it. What a Necrozma? Was it Necrozma or Incineroar? Like one to two, you probably don't expect me to power whip, but still, I just thought there was no risk involved. I wasn't targeting Ferrothorn slot. I didn't need to. Like, if it switched out, yeah, I get the target next turn. But if I power up anyway, I get chip on Necrozma even if it doesn't switch out. While if Ferrothorn stayed in, I'm taking Iron Bars, which isn't exactly pleasant. That doesn't even proc me by my berry. I feel like the Dialga has always been 1 HP short of its berry every single time. But this game's wrapped up now. I get the Dragon Pulse, the Incineroar. I get the Flare Blitz, the Ferrothorn, and that's game. Looks like it is E-move Incineroar, even though it never used it because it's not Berry Incineroar. And now I should just seal up this game 100%. Dragon Pulse finishes off the Incineroar, Flare Blitz knocks out the Ferrothorn. Good game. We just played super defensive. My opponent never got to capitalize. I don't know if my opponent's Necrozma has Earth Power or not. I'm going to assume not because it never clicked Earth Power at all. So, yeah, like just losing to Gastron was huge because that meant no way to really beat down my Dialga. Dialga was just sitting there taking attacks. Basically, all my team took attacks. You couldn't Flare Blitz my Ferrothorn with Kyogre out on the field, so I could play Protect and then hard switch out to Incineroar and Dialga the following turn, which could tank up the attacks. My opponent just, I felt like, just couldn't break through the team. And I think that's what Dialga does well. Like, in some matchups, like, it's really hard to break through the rotating core Pokemon because their type synergies are just so well balanced. This Flare Blitz gonna knock out the Ferrothorn. Yep, that's gonna be a good game. So, I mean, all I had to do was play defensively, U-turn out, get Intimidates, get Primordial Sea in whenever my opponent's Incineroar was on the field, so my Ferrothorn was protected. My opponent's team was super weak to Intimidate. I could draw off Power Whips. Or basically, I just was getting chip on Necrozma every time, and like, sure, if I caught a switch. Like, since my opponent never switched out Ferrothorn, it wasn't a threat. It was leeching for like, what was it? I don't know how much leeching does. It's like 12.5%. Like, it's just not doing anything otherwise. So my opponent with the useless Ferrothorn on the field just was not doing damage. It was just sitting there, and there wasn't really anything my opponent could do to capitalize, especially since I got that Power Up Connect early on the Gastron, which was huge, by the way, because the Gastron could have actually been a threat. It walled my Kyogre, and the Earth Power damage is huge, especially if I miss Power Whip and it got Scald Burn onto my Ferrothorn. But hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode of VGC 2019 Back to Battles. If you did enjoy, please leave a like down below, shows your support, as well as you can check out the rest of my stuff down below in the description, such as my social media, the side saves on my channel, and all the other good stuff, and the team down below if you do want to try out this team. If you do want to support my channel, there is just leaving a like down below, leave a comment, and sharing this video really helps. But if you want to go an extra mile, there is my Patreon page link down below. But otherwise, the next episode will be the last episode with the Dialga team. Look forward to it. But otherwise, thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day, people. Until we battle again, I'll catch you all later.